2 Ezra 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the Highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, the end is manifest. Call halal Yahweh Bashanah Shai Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson.
The video that you just watched right now is from South Africa, where store owners poured oil on the ground in order to try to prevent some of the looting that was happening there. Why hasn't the United States thought of that? Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Okradowski of WeAreChange.org. Lots of really crazy and insane news to get into today, especially with the federal government once again aiding and abetting in some of the worst atrocities that we will be discussing in this video. There's more bombshell revelations from Haiti, protests globally, and just jumping right into it, as in South Africa, of course, is going through a huge upheaval right now where literally, people are resorting to cartoon tricks in order to try to prevent the larger criminality and looting that is happening there right now. And the looting and indiscriminate burning down of property is not just happening to businesses and stores, it's also happening to warehouses and people's private homes, and almost entire communities that are being looted and robbed right now in the utter chaos that's unfolding in that country. All of South Africa's army reservists were called up, 25,000 troops all together to try to stop this unrest, where scenes even show some police officers participating and taking part in the larger looting. Already, way over 70 people have been killed during these clashes. This as there has been 6 days of chaos in most of South Africa, where private residences and store owners were left to defend themselves, with many people saying that they have been let down by the government that decided to respond late to the situation, as now many South Africans are finding it difficult to get everyday supplies and food. Now, the situation in the United States is not as grave as in South Africa, where literally police officers are using police cars as getaway vehicles after looting stores. Here in the United States, police officers usually look the other way, as utter bedlam and crime keeps skyrocketing in major American cities, as of course right now there is an unofficial slowdown by the NYPD and other police departments all throughout this country, where police officers are choosing not to respond or responding very slowly to the ever-rising crime. A lot of people categorize this as one ingredient, a part of the larger pot that, according to some, will be boiling over with utter chaos. As we have this next article by the Daily Mail that is talking about a 1972 prediction by MIT that used a world simulation model and is, quote, predicting the collapse of society, which they say is on track of happening in 2040. As they predict, economic growth will halt, food will become more scarce, and of course the human population will decline, specifically detailing how the business as usual mentality will, quote, spark a decline in economic growth within the next decade, but then a full total collapse in 2040. Will the world play out like MIT predicted in 1972? Well, we don't know, but with the way that things are going, they definitely do make a very compelling case, especially with what is happening financially as the head of the Federal Reserve just issued a statement saying that he is not concerned about the rising cost of living, specifically saying that he will only be concerned about inflation once large price increases become widespread. And with inflation here already affecting a lot of Americans, essentially taxing and stealing their savings right in front of them, there's even talk about Social Security payments going up 6.1% to deal with this inflation. And as governments decide to print more money, intervene in the markets even more, the problem will of course only be exacerbated even more. But hey, in response to all of that, we're doing a survival apocalypse training drill this coming Saturday with tickets are still limited. Yeah, I'm jumping right to this. I'm promoting this right away. This is mainly going to be a very fun and adventurous event that we're going to be conducting in New England. And survival was something that I've been taking very seriously for the last 2 years. I've had the pleasure of working with absolute professionals, Special Forces Green Berets, and a lot of other very talented individuals. And we will be teaching you how to absolutely live off-grid, navigate terrains, and of course, defend yourself no matter what the threat. If you're interested in that, check out the event listed down below, which we always had very positive reviews of. Also, the civil unrest is not just happening in South Africa, in Cuba, in Haiti, in France. It's also happening in Ireland. It's also happening in Greece. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, along with a new Johnson & Johnson recall, all specifically on LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't signed up for it, it's just 50 cents a day. And every single day, I'm starting to put more of my time, more of my resources, concentrating more on Luke Uncensored than I am on this specific YouTube channel. It is definitely worth the watch. If you haven't seen it yet, just go to LukeUncensored.com. Now, if you remember from the beginning, we were very skeptical about the latest news that was unfolding in Haiti, where the president was assassinated, and now we're just getting an onslaught of news and information that directly validates our concerns, as we're getting the information that the U.S. military is confirming that the assassins that took out the Haitian president were trained by the U.S. military. Some of them had connections to U.S. law enforcement, some connected to the DEA, some connected to the FBI, and some connected to a Florida-based security company that many people believe is a front for an intelligence agency. We're also learning that the head of security for the Haitian's presidential palace is also in custody, as he is being accused of cooperating with this assassination for allegedly being a part of this plot. Now, for the Pentagon to admit that it trained some of these Colombians, there's also 2 Americans a part of the assassination team, while the head of the CIA was in Colombia for a secretive, quote, delicate mission, and for the Pentagon to admit that they trained these Colombian assassins really paints the perfect picture of an utter conspiracy unfolding here against the Haitian president, who was one of the few world leaders that actively took a stance against the establishment medical big pharma agencies.
Habakkuk 2:1. And I will stand upon my watch, and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. The Haitian president and his people were not wearing masks. They did not take the waters. He publicly stated that they would not allow that in his country, that the Haitians were resilient, had natural healing, and that they had a diet which kept them safe. Haitians were traveling about the world like everyone else, and the Haitians had 0 cases of you know what. 0. Days after the Haitian president was dead, White House staff members announced that shipments of waters would be headed over to Haiti.
yo. What? Watch this. This. Whoa. Watch this. Watch. Yeah, yo. Freaking.
Ye shall look for comfort, and you're going to find none. Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Awashai Ba'ashem V'Kakudash Wa Abba Kwam Yasharala.